नहमदुहु व नुसल्ली अला रसूलिहिल करीम अम्मा बाद फ़ऊज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम अस्सलाम वालेकुम माय नेम इज इंजीनियर फरहान तनवीर and today's topic of our video is about the understanding the different types of DOS and DDoS attack that are present in the networking world. So the agenda for today's video is to understand the different attacks in networking. Then we will be dealing with the DOS and the DDoS attacks, and third one will be the basis of the DOS and DDoS attack, and the different types of DOS and DDoS attack will be then explained to you. So what is basically an attack in networking? So there are two different types of attacks that can be carried out in the networking world. The first attack is related to the security, and the second attack is related to the energy or the bandwidth utilization. So basically the security deals with the confidentiality, the integrity and the authentication of your data, and the data communication that takes place between the source and the destination, whereas the bandwidth or the energy utilization attacks are those attacks which focus on draining the power sources or draining the energy resources of your network and increasing the bandwidth utilization of the network so that the traffic becomes choked. So this is basically the attacks types that are present in the networking, and out of these different types of attacks there are two very important types of attacks that we will be dealing right now, and those are the DOS and the DDoS attack. So what is the full form of DOS and DDoS attack? DOS basically means denial of service attack, and DDoS means distributed denial of service attack. Basically DDoS attack is more powerful as compared to the DOS attack. So what is basically meant by these two types of attacks? Consider the example of a server that is providing, let's say we consider the example of a DHCP server. So the basic purpose of the DHCP server is to assign IP addresses to the clients that are requesting it for the assurance of an IP address. So now if I by some means attack on that DHCP server, carry out some attack on that DHCP server, because of which that DHCP server is unable to continue its services, that is assigning the IP address to the different clients. So it will mean that I have launched a DOS or DDoS attack on that particular DHCP server. So if by any means you stop or prohibit some server from performing its services, then it means that you have launched a DOS or DDoS attack. That's why it is called denial of service attack, because it does not allow the networking devices to perform their normal operations. Now what's the basic difference between the DOS and the DDoS attack? Basically if I am a malicious node, what is meant by a malicious node? Malicious node is basically an evil node that targets some particular node, and then the malicious node gathers some zombie nodes, and then by the help of those zombie nodes it launches an attack on the target node. So basically the attackers are a malicious node, and along with the malicious node there are some stupid nodes or some stupid networking devices known as the zombie nodes that will aid that malicious node in carrying out an attack on the target node. So if the number of the zombie nodes is less than 10 generally, then we will say that it's a denial of service attack. But if the number of zombie nodes is greater than 10 or a large quantity of zombie nodes are there, then we will say that it is a distributed denial of service attack. So a DDoS attack is more powerful as compared to a DOS attack. So that's the difference between these two types of attacks. Now coming to the basis of these attacks. So how is a DOS or DDoS attack carried out? The answer is very simple. Basically all the vulnerabilities which are present in the internet protocol or the TCP IP model or the UDP services, those defects are basically the basis of carrying out a DOS or DDoS attack. Actually, the malicious node takes advantage of some loophole present in the IP protocol or the TCP UDP protocol, and by taking advantage of that loophole, it launches a DOS or DDoS attack towards the target node. So now we are moving to the different types of DOS and DDoS attack present in the networking world, and the most important are the ICMP and the UDP attacks. So what is ICMP? ICMP is basically Internet Control Message Protocol. It is a protocol that is used by the network layer of the TCP/IP model for basically some error reporting or some destination unreachable messages or for pinging of data. That is the basic purpose of ICMP protocol. About UDP protocol, UDP is basically a connectionless phenomena. In my previous videos I have made the concept of TCP and UDP very clear, so if you haven't watched my previous videos related to the TCP/IP model and TCP and UDP header and the IPv4 header, then kindly watch those videos first, because that will aid you a great deal in understanding the concept of DOS and DDoS attack. So basically ICMP protocol, the loopholes in the ICMP protocol are utilized by the malicious node to carry out some particular attack. And these attacks, the ICMP based attacks, the Internet Control Message Protocol based attacks, are also called as Smurf attacks. Whereas the UDP attacks are also called fragile attacks. So basically in ICMP attack, you know that ping is a very important network utility. Basically ping is packet internet grouper, and ping works on ICMP. Basically ping is used to check the health status of some remote device, whether that remote device is in the up state or the down state. When we ping somebody, then basically an ICMP echo request is created, and that ICMP echo request moves from the source to the destination, and then the destination has to reply to the source the echo request, ICMP echo reply. So if I by some means ping a particular server in a very large quantity, let's say thousands and thousands of pings are received by a particular server, then the server has to reply to all the pings that are inputted to it. So the server will be replying to all the pings, and therefore it will lose its normal operation, and it will not be performing the normal operation for which it is designed for. So the server will be just replying the ICMP echo request packets. It will be just replying the pings messages, and therefore at some time when the pings request become so much in quantity, then the server will crash out. So that is called the ICMP based attack. And similarly the UDP echo request, if you perform this same phenomena on the basis of UDP echo request, then that will be called as fragile or the UDP attack. So I hope that these two attacks are now clear to you. Now moving to the pings of death attack or the ping flooding attack, that has already been told to you as a part of that ICMP protocol. ICMP protocol, when utilized for pinging somebody in a very large quantity, then that will lead to ultimately the death or the crashing of that particular server, because it has to reply to too many quantity of pings, and therefore it will not perform its normal operations. So now moving to the teardrop attack. Now what is meant by the teardrop attack? Basically in IPv4 header there is a field that is known as the fragmentation offset. Again I am saying to you that if you haven't watched my video related to the IPv4 header, then kindly watch that video, because it will make your concept clear related to the DOS and DDoS attacks. So basically in the IPv4 header there is basically a fragmentation field. What is a fragmentation field? Consider an example. Let's say I am sending you some data, and that data is basically 5000 byte long. Now the maximum transmission unit between the source and the destination is, let's say, 1500 byte. So that 5000 byte long data cannot be directly transferred to you, as the link allows only 1500 byte of packet to be carried out from source to the destination. So what will be the my gateway router doing? My gateway router will be dividing my 5000 byte data into smaller chunks, each of 1500 byte. So in the first fragment, there will be the fragmentation offset equal to 0, and in the second fragment there will be some fragmentation offset starting with that byte which will be sent next. For example, in the first fragment there will be the fragmentation offset equal to 0. Now in the second fragment there will be, let's say, fragmentation offset equal to 1500, and in the third fragment the fragmentation offset will be equal to 3000. So if I set by some mean the fragmentation offset of the third segment equal to 2500 byte, so that will cause a discrepancy at the receiving end. Why so? Because the first fragment will be having 1500 bytes, then the second fragment will also be having 1500 bytes, then the third segment will also be having 1500 bytes. So how can the third segment have a fragmentation offset that is not in the multiple of 1500? In the first fragment there is a 0, then in the second fragment there is 1500, and then in the third fragment there is 2500, let's say. So where are the remaining 500 bytes? So that will cause a discrepancy at the receiving end, and the destination machine will become confused and it may crash out. So that is the teardrop attack, that is performing some falsification in the fragmentation offset field of the IPv4 header. Now moving to the synchronization flooding attack. This synchronization flooding attack is based on the TCP protocol. As you know that in the TCP protocol we have three-way handshake. What is a three-way handshake? Basically, TCP is a connection oriented protocol which does not send data from the beginning, but it rather creates a connection between the source and the destination, and after the connection has been created between the source and the destination, then only the TCP protocol will be sending out its data. So that connection creation process basically comprises of three steps. The first step is basically TCP synchronization request, then the acknowledgement, and then finally the third step will be the final acknowledgement sent out from the initiator. So the initiator will first send the synchronization request, the destination will be sending the acknowledgement, and finally at the third step the initiator will again be sending the final acknowledgement. So now there isn't any check in the TCP model or the TCP protocol. There is a flaw. What is that flaw? If I send you a synchronization request and you send me back the synchronization acknowledgement, and then I don't send you any final acknowledgement, then that connection will remain as it is. It is a half open connection. So that half open connection is basically the synchronization flooding attack. So I will be launching different types of synchronization messages towards you, and then the final acknowledgement will not be sent by me. So all your ports will be utilized by me in some half open connections that are of no use, because I will not be sending you any type of data on those half open connections, or just the ports of that particular server will be utilized and nothing will be sent to it. So that is basically the synchronization flooding attack. So you have to keep a check on the half open connections, whether there are some connections that have undergone the first phase of the TCP three-way handshake and the second phase, but the third phase is missing, then those connections must be closed. But that is a flaw, and the hackers or the attackers make utilization of that flaw. That is the third step of the TCP three-way handshake remains unchecked. So now moving to the LAN attack. So now what is meant by a LAN attack? So in the LAN attack, that is the local area network denial of service attack, the malicious node generates an IP packet, and in that IP packet the source IP address and the destination IP address both will be set of that victim station or the victim node. For example, I am a victim node, then I will be receiving through LAN attack an IP packet from a malicious node in which the source and the destination IP address both will be of my own station. So now what will happen? If I reply to this packet, then I will be replying to my own self, because the destination IP was of my own PC. So I will go into this loop and I will be initiating IP packets, and then I will be receiving the IP packets my own self. So this will create a confusion, or this will create junk traffic for that particular victim PC, and therefore that victim server or the victim PC will crash out. So now moving to the Snork attack. In the Snork attack, basically a malicious node uses some technique to increase the CPU utilization of the victim PC. So there are different methods like logging on to the UDP port number 135 and then typing some character. So that will increase the CPU utilization of the particular victim host to 100% level, and in that case that server will not be able to perform any of those tasks for which it was originally meant for. So that is called the Snork attack. Now moving to the other types of attacks. Next type of DOS or DDoS attack is the buffer overflow. Basically, buffer is a place for temporary storage of data. So if you, for some method, you being the malicious node, overflow the buffer of the receiving devices, so what will happen? It will happen that the data that is coming into the buffer will be written in the next consecutive locations in the memory. So it may be possible that the data which is coming in is some type of malicious code, and then the buffer will be overflowed and the data will be written in the memory locations, and when those memory locations are retrieved, then it will cause different types of attacks or different types of errors for that receiving host. So that is called the buffer overflow attack. Now moving to the slow read attack. Slow read attack is basically related to the synchronization flooding attack or the half open connection. As I told you, in the TCP three-way handshake, there are three steps. First step is the synchronization sending step or synchronization request. Second step is the synchronization request acknowledgement, and the third step is the final acknowledgement. So in these attacks, slow read attacks, all the three steps of the TCP three-way handshake are carried out properly. But what happens after that? The third step, that was the final acknowledgement. Final acknowledgement is sent at a very slow rate by the malicious node. So it is not just causing the half open connections, it is not causing any half open connection, but rather it is sending the final acknowledgement at a very slow rate. So that will also utilize the port of that server, and no other request can be received on those ports now. So that is called the slow read attack. You deliberately lower down the speed of a connection, as the connection has no data to be sent and received, no legitimate data to be sent or received to a particular server. So that is called the slow read attack, go slow policy basically. Now moving to the HTTP POS attack. This attack is also related to a type of slow read attack. In HTTP POS attack, basically a successful HTTP POS request is sent from the malicious node to the server replies, and the final acknowledgement is also sent properly. Now what will happen? It will happen that the malicious node will now sending data at a very slow rate. In the slow read attack, the third step of the TCP three-way handshake was carried out at a very low rate, but in the HTTP POS attack, the normal data that is to be flowing between the source and the destination, so the malicious node, that is the source node or the zombies including with that particular malicious node, they will be sending their data at, let's say, 1 bit per 100-second rate. So that will cause the server in a situation where it will not say that it is an illegitimate traffic, because the traffic is legitimate, but the traffic is deliberately carried out at a very slow rate. So if traffic is carried out at a very slow rate, then it is HTTP POS attack, and if the final acknowledgement is carried out at a very slow rate, then it is called slow read attack. Now moving to the misdirection attack. So now what is a misdirection attack? There can be different types of misdirection attacks. For example, I have to send data to your PC, but instead of sending data to your PC, because of some malicious node, I am sending data to your neighboring PC, or I am sending data to a very remote host, and from there from that remote host the data is again sent to you, the traversing of long paths between the source and the destination for no reason. Or it may be possible that I forwarded your data to an intermediate host, but that intermediate host is behaving like a selfish node and it is not forwarding the data towards you, rather it is forwarding data to someplace else. So that is called misdirection attack. Instead of having a short path between the source and the destination, long routes are taken, or sometimes the data isn't forwarded to that particular destination host. So that is called the misdirection attack. And similar is the PDoS attack. It is also related to the misdirection attack. Basically PDoS attack is the path denial of service attack. So what is path denial of service attack? In this type of attack, a malicious node spoofs or makes himself a similar node like me. For example, I am sending you data, and there is a malicious node who is also behaving like my own self, and then he will be presenting himself a legitimate sender of the data. So now if I send one packet towards you, then that malicious node will be making 4, let's say, extra copies of my sent data towards you, and then a total of 5 packets having the same data information or some malicious information will be received by the destination network. Other than the legitimate traffic, illegitimate data will also be received. So if Farhan wants to send data to Umar and Farhan sends Umar 1 packet of data, then in PDoS attack the node Umar will be receiving more than 1 legitimate original packet, and the Umar PC will receive let's say 4 or 5 copies of the same data or the malicious data, but Umar will not be able to distinguish which is the original data, and therefore its machine can be crashed. So that is called the PDoS attack. Now moving to the ARP cache poisoning. What is ARP? Basically ARP stands for address resolution protocol. So the basic function of an address resolution protocol is to convert IP addresses into MAC addresses. In your PC you can see the ARP cache by going into the DOS prompt and then typing ARP-A command. So this command, ARP-A command, will give you your ARP cache for your particular machine. Why is a MAC address necessary? Without the MAC address you cannot create the frame of data to be sent towards the destination network. So from an IP address, MAC address is to be extracted by using the ARP cache. Whenever you go to the internet, then your PC finds out the finds out the MAC address of the default gateway that is set in your PC IP configuration. So whenever you have to go to the internet, you forward your data to your default gateway, to your gateway router by using the ARP cache, because in the ARP cache it has the MAC address of your default gateway router. So the IP to MAC translation is carried out by the ARP protocol, and the ARP protocol creates an ARP cache inside the computer. So if for some reason a malicious node sends you a wrong MAC address related to your default gateway, then you will be sending or creating MAC frame related to that false MAC address, and then that MAC frame will never be forwarded to your default gateway and you can never enjoy the internet surfing. So that is basically the ARP cache poisoning. Now moving to the botnet attack. What is a botnet attack? In this attack, the malicious node uses some zombie nodes. The malicious node infiltrates into the zombie nodes, and then using those zombie nodes, it generates some type of attack to the victim station. And similar is the phenomena of P2P aided attack. P2P aided attack is basically related to the peer-to-peer networks. In these attacks also there are zombie nodes which are utilized by the malicious node to create some type of attack towards the destination or the victim PC. Now moving to the compromised memory attack. So what is a compromised memory attack? If I infiltrates in your PC and in your memory locations I save some type of malicious code, and whenever your system goes to that particular memory location and executes the code present in that particular memory location, then your PC can be crashed or some evil will happen to your PC. So that is called the compromised memory attack. That means that that portion of the memory is having some malicious data inside it, as your PC was infiltrated by the malicious PC itself. So that is all compromised memory attack. Now moving to the firmware attack. Firmware attack is also known as the permanent DOS attack. Why so? Because in these types of attacks, the operating system is basically corrupted, or you have to reinstall the operating system. So if by some means the malicious node affects your firmware or your operating system needs to be then reinstalled, then this type of attack is called the firmware attack. Now moving to the unintentional DDoS. So what is mean by unintentional DDoS? These DDoS attacks are not deliberate attacks. Rather, these attacks are created or they are basically the result of let's say carelessness of the data communication between the source and the destination. I can explain these unintentional DDoS attack by using the simple example of windowing concept. Basically in IPv4 there is a concept of windowing. What is a window size? When we talk about the TCP protocol, I told you that in the TCP protocol there is a synchronization and the acknowledgements are sent between the source and the destination. So now when I am sending you data 1000, then according to the connection oriented TCP protocol, the receiver will be sending me acknowledgement of the data received by it. So generally this acknowledgement is not on one-to-one segment basis, because if I send you 500 segments, then will you send me 500 acknowledgements? It means if it is so, then there will be 50% reduction in the bandwidth, as for every segment transmitted there will be an acknowledgement coming back to the sender. So what happens, we generally use a large window size. For example, the window size taken to, let's say, 50,000. So now what will happen, when I send you 50,000 segments, then you will send me a single acknowledgement. So that is more proper. But if we use a very small window size, then what will happen? It will happen that for every one segment, let's say, I will be sending you back the acknowledgement. So this will cause an unintentional DDoS. This will cause an unintentional reduction in the network traffic, or the network bandwidth utilization will be increased 100% without for no proper reason. So don't keep the window size small, because it will then create an unintentional DDoS. So that is called an unintentional DDoS, in which there is no deliberate or no malicious activity planned for a particular host, but it naturally happens because of some careless or because of some stupidity of the communication link. So now moving to the multi-vector attack. Multi-vector attack is one of the most dangerous types of DDoS attack, because in the multi-vector attack, different types of DDoS attacks are all combined and they are all carried out at the same time on a particular victim PC. So that is called multi-vector attack. Now moving to our last DDoS attack for today's lecture, that is the zero-day or the zero-order attack. Basically in the zero-day or the zero-order attack, you don't know what is the DDoS, because there are multifarious loopholes in the communication process. So as the days are passing by, new loopholes have been found out by the attackers or the hackers, and they are utilizing those loopholes to carry out their attack. So the modern day or those types of denial of service attack or distributed denial of service attack about which we have no information at present, those are called zero-day attack or the zero-hour attack. So I hope that this topic of the DOS and the DDoS attack is now clear to you. Kindly like and subscribe my channel and share this video among your friends. Till then, it is time to say goodbye. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.